Okay, good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Ethan Plays Live. This is a special presentation of Ethan Plays Live. This is Requiem for the GDC, the Phoney interview. And Phoney is backstage. We'll get to him in just a minute. A couple of things I need to talk to you about first. The first thing is that there is a poll going on over on my community page. And I would really appreciate it if everybody went over there and voted. What we're voting on is the name for the bot. So the name for the bot in Twitch, excuse me. Well, it'll also be on Twitch, but in chat can be changed. So we're voting on what we want the name to be. I'm just getting the link for you to the my community page so that I can put that in the chat. Give me just a second. So make sure you go and vote on that. I will tell you that Batsy has already said that her favorite is Taco Truck. So basically, vote for Taco Truck because that's probably what it's going to be anyway. But you can do that. The second thing is there will be an after show on Twitch. So if you are not following me on Twitch, you should probably go ahead and do that. And the Twitch address, of course, is twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. You will all be able to participate in the after show, of course, just like always. All you have to do is join the my Discord. And one of the mods can drop a link, or you can just do !Discord, and the bot will give it to you in chat. Come in, join the live stream chat channel in Discord, and you can come be on the after show. I always love it when you do that. And then finally, before we get to Phoney, Sunday night at 7 p.m., I am going to be doing an interview. There is a hashtag that has been on Twitter lately. It's called #TwitterDoBetter. And it was started by a Twitch streamer named Wreck-It Raven. She is a minority Twitch streamer, and she started the hashtag because she and other minority Twitch streamers have been facing a lot of harassment and a lot of bullying and a lot of racism on Twitch. And Wreck-It Raven will be joining me Sunday night at 7 for an interview to talk about the Twitch Do Better hashtag and everything that's going on with it and harassment on Twitch. It should be a really great interview. I'm hoping for a special guest who will join us. So I am really, really, really looking forward to that. You should see that go up on the schedule tomorrow. I just didn't have time to get it done this evening for you. Okay, with no further ado, I do want to get Phoney here. So give me just a second. Good evening, Mr. Phoney. Right. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good, good, good. Welcome. So I start all these interviews off the exact same way. How did you first find the GDC?
So I started being on YouTube in 2003 to 2004, around about that level. I didn't really start off talking about religion or the great debate or whatever you want to call it. I wanted to do film reviews because that's one of my passions. I love films. I love critiquing films. It's just one of those, happenstance that I happened to see a video of, I think I told you about this before we started, of the late Derek Acora getting chewed out by this guy who's been a real arsehole to him about religion and stuff like that. So I thought I know more people that think like this. So it started me going down. So look, I managed to find Richard Dawkins, who I'd seen before on Christmas lectures, because he used to do science lectures at Christmas in the UK on television. And then through that, this is when we used to have video responses. One of the video responses was TJ Kirk, Jade, an atheist. And through that, I managed to get into the person I managed to get into was Richard Coughlin, the Coughlin brother Nero, whatever the name he goes by now. And through him, I started making my own videos. And through that, I actually got to know a lot of people. I got to know Jackie, Kevin, Brian, Excelled, a lot of people who now, I associated with. And it was just through, knowing these people that I got, brought into different groups. Like, when we had different static conversations going on, or when Google had its own community tabs. I think they went. I'm not sure what year they went by the wayside, but we used to have little group tabs. I used to be added to those.
Sure.
Different chats like that. It was just really, just through that, really, just through those associations.
So what were some of the arguments you like to participate in?
Just like religion ones, really. To be honest with you, I'm a Christian myself,
Okay.
and just some of the atheists, some of the Christians I saw online were like people like Brendan Fang X, who
Right.
who defrauded a hospital,
Sure.
or there are people like Gear Up, if you remember him, he was like a total like right wing, and he reminds
Right.
somebody who is totally socially and politically different from them. I'm
Right.
from the UK. I'm very left leaning. I'm a socialist. I wasn't socialist then, but I'm still very left leaning.
Sure.
The thing is that I'd read more than one book. I'd read more than the Bible. I'd read
Right.
I'd read like different apologetics. I'd written like I'd read like Augustine and Eusebius, and I'd read like Nietzsche and all this sort of stuff and Kant and things like that. And it's just stuff that I knew, and I thought I could bring a different dynamic that they weren't bringing, because again, all we see was this just total lack of intelligence from the quote unquote Christian side. The other thing is that was my own ignorance, that because through that I got to know Ross and the Round Table, Michael Crawford.
Mm.
Through that I got to know people like Labyrinth 312. I got to know different Christian YouTubers who were more intelligent than I was. Not that I think I'm intelligent by any stretches by anyone's perspective. But again, I thought that I got to come for it from a very working class point of view, because I am a working class guy. I'm not somebody who, even though I went to university, I don't consider myself really intelligent. I think I'm above average at best. But there's people who know more than me. I always like reading the book, and I always will try and learn what that lesson is, but sometimes you can misread a book or misunderstand it. And I think it's always good to reread that book and try and understand it. So I always try to look for the best, because to me, the best debates are one where both sides present a good review and you can go back to it over and over and over again and learn something new every time.
Do you consider yourself like a Christian apologist?
To some degree, yeah. Because again, if somebody from the atheist side, let's say, for example, says something like evolution disproves God, well, no, it doesn't. All it proves is that species transition over a length of time. If you want to believe a God's behind that, there's no more exception to that than believing that a God doesn't believe that.
Sure. Sure. And God may be directing the process of evolution.
Exactly.
I mean, there's right.
Yeah. So I'm dead against the conspiracy theory that Jesus didn't exist. I'm against that conspiracy theory, but I don't think that makes me a quote unquote Christian apologist. I'm more about facts, because if we could discuss what facts are, then whatever opinion we could have apart from that could just be a fun theological conversation.
Right.
So I wouldn't consider myself an apologist now.
Okay. So when you started to get involved with the GDC, you said it was mainly, who did you say again that you were mainly associated with?
Like Brian J, Excelled.
Okay. I know her.
Trying to think who else was in that. Because again, there used to be like these like long, like 13 heathens, Shadow Heathen now.
Sure.
Just different people, just like I just like started talking to like there's people who are no longer with us. People like Reese who were taught to. Russell Roundtable. I talked to him a lot.
Did you ever get to talk to Ocean?
Ocean. Cool. I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
I've not really talked to him.
Oh, okay.
William
he's a pagan, and he usually gets on those Christian debates. So I don't know if you'd ever gotten a chance.
Talked to him briefly.
Okay.
But it was like people like William Cardinal, because this showed how long ago we used to do Sticker back in the day. That's basically like that was our chat platform that we went to. No. But yeah, as I said, so sometimes that would happen. But yeah,
hold on, because Holy Spackle says sometimes your arguments lasted 8 hours in Skype. So I need to know what arguments of yours were lasting 8 hours in Skype.
It would just be like just petty stuff, to be honest with you. It would just be like, sometimes it'd be about the concept of God. Sometimes it'd be like small stuff like, for example, whether a person that is a quote unquote bad person, because I would go off on like for example, Richard Dawkins, I think he's a bad person. And it's
Sure.
not because he's an atheist, it's because of the horrible stuff he comes out with.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
And, you know, some people in the GDC obviously support what he has to say. So, the thing is with me, I'm a very stubborn person. So, unfortunately, that can have a negative effect sometimes.
Well,
it is something that I have tried to get help with.
Yeah, me too. I'm not as bad as I used to be.
Trust me, neither am I either. I've been getting like CBT recently, so that's been helping me a lot.
Oh yeah, maybe I should try it. So, you were mainly in like the G plus groups, or like what different segments were you in?
So I've seen like again, it'd be like different Skype groups. So like usually be like, you know, I'd have a couple of people on Skype, and then all of a sudden like, oh, we've got this group going. Do you want to come in this chat? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then we just like, you know, just maybe like when I had a 3 minute, I'd, you know, put something in there, like, you know, I put a video in there or put a conversation. Like if somebody put something in there that I didn't agree with, I'd say I don't really agree with that. And sometimes that would be stuff like that. But again, like when we did Google chat, sometimes we'd have chat, you know, open to chats about that. Sometimes I do visual responses when I was in my old channel, when I was on Boss World 3, because Phoney BMX is my second channel. You know, that would go on for a while. So again, it would depend really on what year you're talking about, because again, I go from being you know, small stick and Skype groups to big Google where it's like 100, you know, 200 people in it.
Oh, that's see, I am so sorry I missed out on that. It's funny because I was so close to the edge of the GDC. I found out years later. So there used to be, for anyone who doesn't know, these like 24/7 flat Earth hangouts. Do you remember those? Did you ever see those?
What hangouts? Sorry.
So they were these 24 hours a day, 7 day a week, flat Earth hangouts. You could always go in there, and somebody was arguing some insane, crazy shit about the flat Earth. There was a guy one time, I don't remember fully what he was arguing, but it was something to the effect that the world was actually inside Jesus. We were living inside Jesus's body, and the stars were actually like the particles or atoms inside Jesus's body, but we were so small living inside Jesus's body that they looked like stars to us. And like and I don't know if the guy was like schizophrenic or something, but he believed this. Yes, negative exponents. It does. And it was kind of similar. But what was great about the Hangouts is you could just join them. You could. There was no sign in. There was nothing. You just would join them. And there were Saturday and Sunday nights when I was single and lonely, where that's what I did for like 6-8 hours. I just sat in there, and I was not a participant really. I more was just lurking just because it was crazy, and I was playing video games while I had it up. You know, it was just something crazy to listen to. By the way, the guy with the Jesus argument actually had a video. All I remember is that it was like Jesus's body. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't say a word. He like made his opening statement, and then we were all like asking him questions, and he was just showing this video he made in like Blender. It was awful CGI of like zooming into Jesus's body, and the earth was like at where his diaphragm was or something, and then zoomed back out. And he wouldn't talk. He would not respond to us. He just kept playing this video over and over again. Anyway, what were some of the crazy arguments you heard, like really weird shit?
Well, again, talking of that, I mean, the person who used to do stuff like that was Nadia. You probably have heard of her. She used to have like hangouts that used to go on for at least 20 hours, which would go on for 20 hours. Or when we used to do the Friday Fail, that used to go on for about 24 hours as well. You know, sometimes you go on for a pretty damn long time. The most stupid arguments. I saw once when G-Man said that Pokemon and Digimon and Flaming Yu-Gi-Oh was demonic. I don't know if you call that. I know.
Wait, so Pokemon and Digimon are demonic?
He said Yu-Gi-Oh because no, it's Yu-Gi-Oh Pokemon. Sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh Pokemon.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, because there's a card in Yu-Gi-Oh. Again, I know Yu-Gi-Oh kind of from the TV series, so I don't know everything about it.
I don't know anything about either of them except they exist.
By the way, anyway, there's a card on it that's called Lucifer. I literally said because of that it's demonic. That was literally his argument.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some Jehovah's Witness shit.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else I've heard. I've heard somebody like some of the things that Dusty Smith said, like like when he said that if you're a black Christian, therefore you're a race traitor. That was a really bizarre and really bad.
Okay. All right. Well. That's
yeah. A white guy is going to tell black people what they should and shouldn't.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah. That's not really how that works. Okay. So good Lord. So I do want to talk about Jade because you mentioned Jade, and I know that you knew her fairly well. And I just would like you to talk for a few minutes about Jade and your thoughts on her.
Well, the first time I met her was actually in a Friday Fail. It did be going well. I came in and I heard her saying something derogatory about Christianity. The thing is, what she was talking about was fundamentalists. Again, I'd only come in like 2/3 of the way through a conversation.
Sure.
So I was talking to her, and then the chat ended, and me and her spent about. This is when this was Google Hangouts time. This is when chat. If you stayed in the Hangout, you could just talk for exponentially for hours, and you get to know people. So
sure.
So we just got talking, and it was one of the things that she just started coming into groups that I was a part of. But the thing is that I don't know why we became as close as we did, because like at the time I think I'm trying to remember the year we met. I think about 2011, 2012. So it was just as I became, I think just as I turned 30, I think we met. I think she was in her 60s from what I'd gather of her age at the time. Sure. So here's a guy in his about to be 30s, and here's a woman in the 60s. And you think that they would have no connection, but yeah, we'd always talk all the time. Like we'd talk behind the scenes. And the thing is, when we talked, it was never about the quote unquote faith. It was always about personal stuff. It was always like, and the more I've heard about her since she's passed, the more it fits the sort of caring person she was. Because I've heard about the fact that she helped Laura become realize who she really is. She's helped Hannah realize that she's LGBT. She helped drag out. She helped me out quite a lot. I was going through some mental health problems at the time, and she really reached out to me. I reached out to her, and I helped her. And the thing is that I heard Fiona on here a couple. I think I'm not sure when Fiona was on here. For about
it was a week or so ago. Yeah,
about a week or so ago. Talk about that. She was secretly Catholic. Now there's three people who knew about that: Brad, Jade, and me. I knew about it about 6 months before she came out. She told me privately because I'd wanted to see. I'm not the sort of person who tries to push my faith on people, but I wanted to talk to her about it. And we had she phoned me up with Brian and basically told me that she was Catholic and not to tell anyone else about it. She was going to come out at her own time. And whenever she talked about religion, I'd make sure that I'd talk to her normally, but I knew in my back of her head that she had this secret. And I told her that she should come out about it, because the thing is, if people thought badly about her because she's Catholic, then they never respected her to begin with.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, she said that she wanted to come out in her own time. She wanted to, she wanted to be comfortable, that she knew that the people that she trusted would be comfortable with it. And I said, I always told her that I always spoke to her about a couple of times, because the other day I felt of being too pushy. But when she came out, she told everybody that I knew about it, which I did. But yeah, she was the sort of person that she cared about everybody. And I think the thing that I wish that she did was that she she generally cared about everybody. She wanted everybody to get along. Right. Now, sometimes unfortunately I've got the sort of street kid in me that again could push people away. But the thing is that the thing is with Jade, she tried to like everybody. There's always a couple of people I could ever remember getting under a Jade skin, like Ryan Campbell did, and I know G-Man did. Like literally, they got under her skin because I think the way that they would act or the things that we would say to her. But apart from that, she was a generally person. So if there was anything I ever wanted to know about science, there were two people I went to. It was Fiona and it was Jade. And I still go to Fiona now. If I ever have a science question, I'll go to her and say, hey, like I did recently about the whole COVID thing, because again, I don't know everything about it, and the thing is, I keep on getting two different things from disparate sources. Again, and not all of them are scientific, sometimes they're trying to fearmonger a lot of stuff up. So I will try and go to somebody who knows more about it and say, hey, what is the truth? And you'll say, well, here's the truth because of this, that, and you'll break it down to me. And that's the way that Jade was. She could break it down down for people who were scientifically educated, and that is a rare gift. There's always certain people on here that I would grab. Thunderfoot used to be able to do that, and Jade definitely had that. That she could communicate very complex scientific subjects. And she was one of the people that I went to. I used to love the show that her and Fiona did called The Science Bitches.
Yes.
I used to love that because the thing is, I got more science education through those. I don't know how long the series went. I think it went about a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
Fiona will be able to tell me in the chat how long that series went on. But I learned more in that how long it went on for than I did in my entire 4 or 5 years at high school, because it broke it down to a way that I could understand it. And the thing is when people try to educate you, that's what the way you should do. It break it down so that even if somebody isn't scientifically minded, they can get the context you're talking about. So that's one thing that I will always. And plus, the thing is, as a human being, she was a great human being. Again, I'd actually planned to go and meet her a couple. What 2014, 13. I went to go and meet her just because, again, we'd gotten on so well, and I went to shake out.
Awesome.
But unfortunately, I couldn't. I ended up going to a different part of California because I didn't realize how vast California is.
Oh yeah, California is it's like a day to drive across, probably from south to north, maybe more.
Yes.
Oh, real quick. I'm so sorry I have to do this right now, but anyway, mods, listen. Lolcow University, I think you might be here on a channel that is not your original channel, and your original channel got struck. And I can't have you commenting in the chat because of that. So I'm going to need the mods to hide you, unfortunately. I don't want to, but I have to follow the rules of YouTube. So I'm sorry to bring that up in the middle of this phony. I apologize, but I have to follow the rules. Sorry about that, lolcow, but that's the way it's got to be. Okay. Well, so you didn't ever actually get to meet Jade. You just went to California, right?
Yeah. I went to Long Beach. She's on. I think she's on the other side.
Sure. How I got this hair. I went to Long Beach. True.
But yeah, as I said, when you're in Britain, we think Britain's a big place, but literally, I think you could fit the entire landmass of Britain into literally, I think 3 states. I think you could fit it into California 3 times or something. So that's how big it is. And again, we in Britain think that Britain's a bad place. It isn't. We just think it is. So but yeah, I always went to meet. I didn't to, but we chatted on and off. And I remember the day she passed actually, because I'd moved from because I live with my parents, but I'd moved to a different apartment. I literally within a week, people were putting out videos saying, "Jade, I will miss you," and I cannot tell you what I thought. It was literally a punch to the gut.
Sorry, I whenever I stream, Frankie has to come over and say hi to the audience.
It's all right. It was literally it was literally a punch to the gut, because he was somebody that I literally cried before, because again, people were putting streams up and live streams and talking about her. And literally, I was literally
dude, just people telling me about it, I get teary-eyed. I understand. She was beloved by everyone.
Yeah, so when I learned that she passed, it was literally like a punch to the gut, like, and it was literally like I just wanted to know how and and why and stuff like that, and like but the thing is, I wanted just good memories of her because the thing is
Right.
that's what she deserves. She was a people to some degree these videos report they're somewhat amped version of who we really are. Like,
Sure.
I'm not usually this verbose person. I'm a very quiet, shy person. You've actually met me in real life. I'm trying to work on that, of
Me
course.
too. I'm painfully shy in real life.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
sad.
yeah. But Jade was, help me bring that out of me, bring the real me. And the thing is, she was the same to everybody, and I think that's something that I think is a massive credit to her. So when she
Right.
passed away, even now, I have her on my Facebook, her real name and everything. And whenever her birthday comes up, it always pops up, and I always write something in it like, I'm always going to miss you, and I always. I always will and stuff like that, and I always will post something, even though that she's not there to read it. I personally believe that she's reading it somewhere,
I'm working, Did you know that I'm
and
working?
and she the thing is, it goes to show you what a person is. That after she passed away, everybody had a story of stuff that she did for the behind the scenes. The thing is that the thing is that she always told me that she loved Fiona. Like, basically, she said that she never had a sister, and Fiona was the closest thing to her. And I like, and we talk about a love life, which is something that again we wouldn't talk about because the thing is, I always asked her, would you get married, and stuff like
Right.
that. Again, she'd always answer those questions. Yeah, I thought about getting married, but I've not really met somebody. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
And again,
It's
the thing
harder.
is,
Dating gets harder when you're older too. I know from
yeah,
personal experience. Dating starts to really suck.
plus, she's a lesbian and stuff like that. And
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
I always said to have you ever thought about talking to the Catholic Church about allowing gay marriage? She said, well, I think it's a losing battle on that. And I said, well, I think if they actually met you, it'd be a lot easier for you to get because you have to meet you. You're a loving person. You try to keep to the Catholic tenets as much as you can and stuff like that. And I just think that she was the sort of person who could instigate that sort of change.
Yeah, she seems like the kind of person who was exceptional at building those bridges, especially between disparate peoples, between people that were very, very different or disagreed very, very strongly.
Absolutely.
She found ways to bridge those connections. God, I really wish I would have gotten to meet her. Okay, we can't do a completely Jade stream.
No.
But no, don't be sorry. Please don't be sorry. But there's someone else I want to talk about, and that's Nadia. Can you tell us a little bit about Nadia and your experiences with Nadia?
Yes. So she would do these, like, I'm talking about several. We're talking about like more than 10-hour hangouts where she would just came in and just shoot the shit with whoever there. Sometimes G-Man would come in, sometimes somebody else like Veckel and stuff like that. I went into about 3 or 4. Three or 4 people were that I really liked. And the thing is, sometimes you talk to people that maybe you got out of contact with, and you get back in contact with them and stuff like that. And sometimes you revive an online friendship. When you start talking to them on just thing. But sometimes you can just get a bit out of hand, especially when G-Man was on full G-Man mode. He'd take over the entire hangout. And people would be talking to him for a good 11 hours. I mean,
I bet.
And sometimes I'd be about 4 or 5 hours of those hangouts. But Nadia, I think Nadia was a good person. I think that she was just going through some changes. She was,
sure.
She was trans and she was going through transitions and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about her. So far.
No. I would never say anything about her because I always thought she had a good heart on her. She basically wanted people to to have a forum where people could just discuss stuff, and there's no limits. There's nobody saying, "Oh, we can't really discuss that." People would always discuss whether they wanted to talk about whether it be religion or politics or transgenderism and stuff like that. Because sometimes G-Man would come in there and directly just attack her for her transgenderism. Literally, she would entertain it in a way that I don't think a lot of trans people, especially now, would entertain it. You know, she'd literally say, "Well, that's not how I feel. That's not who I am." You know, there is, you know, and stuff like that. And even with G-Man, she would show, you know, that level of
that patience.
You know, yeah,
right.
and I've heard that. I've heard through the grapevine that, you know, she's fully transitioned now and she's doing a lot better. And the fact that she's doing better, she's doing it away from YouTube, because sometimes, as I said, YouTube could be a vacuum sometimes in your life. So whatever she's doing, and if it's a positive thing that she's not on YouTube, I'm glad she's doing it.
Well, I want to say to negative exponents, I've said fuck instead of, excuse me, I have said fuck in front of Dr. Misha before, and I feel the same way. It's like, you know, she makes me want to do better. But she's a great lady. Glad she's here. I'm glad she's feeling better too. Spackle says, I can talk about the time Nadia said people trying. Wait. Yes. Okay. I read that right. I can talk about the time Nadia said people were trying to kill Nadia, and I was distraught and crying about it because that definitely was not. I think that you. Oh, okay. Was not. I think I missed some of the message. I don't think all of the message came through.
No, I think you might be.
Yeah, I think it got cut off. This is definitely not a perfect program, but anyway. So, Puff. Oh, Puff. I love you, Puff. I love you. We have to play Paladins sometime soon on Twitch together. We used to play Paladins all the time on Mixer. You guys won't get that. I was 3.5 billion years ago or so. So, what, in your opinion, was the you went on TST sometimes, right? Talking Shit Tuesdays.
Yeah.
What do you think was the allure of Talking Shit Tuesday?
Well, the fact that they would talk about internet drama and they would always invite whoever they were talking about onto the program. So there's very few times that whoever they were talking about wasn't allowed on. The one time I could definitely remember was when Reds wasn't allowed on it. But apart from that, they would invite whoever it was, whether it be G-Man or Steve or I try to think like Veckel or Reds or whoever, you know, they'd always be invited on to give their side of it, which, again, when you do these sort of like critiques or drama videos or reaction videos or whatever they call these days, very rarely will they invite the guys on.
Right.
I mean, like, because the thing is that, because that's what I find fascinating, because sometimes people could say, well, you got what I said wrong or stuff like that. I can say, I actually said this and you say that I'm saying that. And sometimes that could be a fascinating in content itself. And that's what TST was that was that, you know, talking about internet drama and then the person sometimes coming on to defend themselves. Again, I was never a subject, thank God, of talking Tuesday.
Right. Okay. And I think one of the worst things about, to me, this is my opinion, just my opinion. I think one of the things that we've lost the most from the fracturing of the community is that ability to not only criticize people, but to hear criticism. I try to not be a person that shies away from criticism. I always try to take it seriously. I always try to listen and do better in the future. I'm not perfect. Never claim that I'm perfect. I'll never be perfect. Being perfect actually sounds kind of boring to me because then you never get to learn anything. But how do you feel about that? How do you feel? Do you agree with me that like the fracturing of the community has taken some of that away, has turned it into just drama when it should be criticism, and criticism can actually be positive?
Absolutely, because again, the thing is that all of us can learn something new. And again, we're not always right in our utterances. Because again, if let's say, for example, I was to go and make a video now about science stuff, I'm bound to get something right because science isn't my field.
Right.
And I'd want somebody like, you know, a Fiona or Paul Hartley or somebody to challenge what I'm saying, to say, hey, you've not got that quite right. And again, they're not being rude or disrespectful. They're just correcting me on an error I'm making.
Sure.
And I think we've lost that to some degree because now it's all about personalities and, you know, somebody's doing something because, like, you know, I'm watching, you know, at the moment I'm watching, like, you know, Negs and flaming the Geek Room going back and forward.
Yeah, that shit is insane.
Even I'm like, I mean, even though I've watched some of the videos, even I can't get what exactly the beef is between the two. I think it's just that. I mean, if you want my personal opinion, I think it's just that Nex is an asshole, and the Geek Crew match are pretty cool people.
Listen, Negs is definitely an asshole. I don't even think that's up for debate. Yeah, but you know, and I think what Talking Shit Tuesday really provided was if the community perceived, not necessarily that you did something wrong, but if the community perceived that you did something wrong, and if somebody in the community was willing to call you out on it, you had to sit in the hot chair and your butt had to get nice and toasty while somebody was like, you were wrong for such and such. And I miss those guardrails, or I shouldn't say miss them because I never had them, but I like having those guardrails in place. I like having somebody to come at me and say, you were wrong. You were absolutely wrong. And here's why you were wrong. I like that. I thrive on that more than anything else in my life. I'm a person that can't take a compliment, but loves an insult. I don't know why I'm wired that way. I'm almost done. But I think that the loss of those guardrails has hurt the skeptic community more than anything else possible, because the idea of the skeptic community is to ask questions. And if you're going to be in the skeptic community, you have to also answer questions when they're asked of you.
But also, I think that there's been a loss of forum of where people can actually have decent chats about religion or politics or whatever without feeling that somebody's just going to dogpile somebody. Because again, if let's say, for example, I go into, and I have done this recently, gone into a non-believer room, I get dogpiled by the non-believers. Whereas if I go into a G-Man room, I get dogpiled by his, and I have done that recently as well. I get dogpiled
Black Hammer of God comes out of the woodwork and smacks you in the face.
Exactly, like Veckel and him and all that stuff will laugh about, will call me stupid for just asking reasonable questions about his behavior.
Sure.
So again, the thing is that we've lost the ability to have that conversation with in a mature adult way, because just because I'm disagreeing with you doesn't mean I think you're a bad person. It just means I disagree with you on this one issue.
Right.
And I think that is something that's been lost from the community. And I think if people could come together and just respect that they could agree just to disagree, that the community could come back with that constructive criticism.
Porpoise, if you're going to be in the peanut gallery, you have to wear a great hat. Go ahead, Phoney. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Because to respect what somebody has to say, to set criticism, you have to respect what they have to say. Because the thing is, that's something that has been lost recently. Right.
And I think it's an issue with clicks, and clicks are a part of human nature. I think we want to be with people that agree with us. And it's a lot easier. Excuse me. It's a lot easier for me to share my opinion with you when I know that you agree with it, right? And so we end up formulating echo chambers. I always said, and Maya and Puff and Titan your anus can all attest to this. I said this all the time in Mixer. I do not want this to be an echo chamber. I do not want my channel to be an echo chamber. I want people who disagree with me. I want people who criticize me. I want people who question my decisions, question the things that I say, because that's the only way that I can know that they're right. In science, the reason that you have the scientific method, the reason that you have peer-reviewed studies is because you need to know that you're right. And you need an overabundance of evidence to prove something wrong. There's no proof in science. Proof is only in math, blah, 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 whatever. Or wait, did I say that backwards? No, I said that right. Yes, but I've said it backwards before. It pains me because you've got a lot of smart, charismatic people who are experts at something. It doesn't, all over the place, biology, psychology, philosophy, whatever it is, who literally won't talk to each other anymore because the blood has gotten so bad that they won't even have a conversation with each other. They've blocked each other on all their social media, and I hate you and you're a piece of shit and goodbye. And I wish that would change, and I don't know how to change it. I don't think that I'm the person capable of changing it. I'm just going to sit here and pontificate and bloviate. But I do wish that there was a way for that to change, at least on some level, for there to be a way to sit down and have conversations. I think part of it is, this is so true. The reason you showed up is because you disagreed with me, and you made a point to let me know that you were there to disagree with me, and you were going to continue disagreeing with me. And and you do. Yes, exactly, Fiona. That's exactly what I was going to say. I always look for holes in my opinions and my statements, and the best way that I can find to do that is people who disagree with me. If everybody around me agrees with me all the time, they're not going to find the holes because they agree with me and they like me. And I think it's important to spend times in places where you're not beloved and you're not necessarily agreed with, because it helps make you a little bit stronger. And I think that was the purpose of the GDC. And I hate that has fallen to the wayside.
But I think that people do like to have their opinions. Well, I don't want to say endorsed by, but supported by other people, because that's the reason we have, atheist conventions, or we have churches and stuff like that, because people like to have people who are like-minded all together.
Sure.
Because again, if you've got people intermingling about those subjects, then again, we'd find that there is a much more robust community of different ideas. Because I think that's what the Great Debate community was about, in my opinion, was about the sharing of ideas, even with people you may passionately disagree with.
Right.
You could at least try and find out why did they disagree with me about this one subject. And I think that what has gone from the community has just been the fact that a lot of people do feel, they dislike somebody so much that they won't even listen to something that person has to say about any subject whatsoever. They'll be totally dismissed about everything that they have to say. And to me, that's so wasteful, because just because you disagree with someone about one subject doesn't mean that you have to disagree with them on everything.
And the truth is that you probably, even people that you dislike, and you dislike, and you have good reason for disliking, there's probably common ground with them that you don't realize you have, because you don't communicate with them for whatever reason. Humans as a whole, I found, are pretty similar. Most of us want to care about our families and do what's best for them and do what's best for ourselves. It's rare when you get like an actual psychopath or sociopath that literally is out to hurt people just to hurt them because they enjoy it. A true sadist.
Absolutely. But I do think that again, that those of us who were in the community itself, we always looked for people we disagree with, because again, we don't want to go into an echo chamber. I mean, I tried, and I failed doing like entire a review of the Bible, of the New Testament, of the Gospels. Because again, I did not want an echo chamber with it, so I got 5 Christians, 3 Christians, 3 atheists, and we just went through each chapter of the Bible. No, we really got to I feel like Mark 5, I think. But even with that, you got to see that I'm more interested in echo chambers, because the thing is, just because I say something doesn't mean it's right. Because again, it's just my opinion based upon what I've read. Doesn't mean what I've read is correct. It's just based upon. Sure. What I understand. And I think it's always good to get that different perspective, or that different point of view, because again, somewhere in the middle of all of our opinions is the truth.
And I think it's important to always always overestimate whatever it is you think is true. Always. It is very rare to find someone that knows everything about anything. It's exceedingly rare. Most of the time, it's you and a couple of other people who all know enough about something in order to devise a conclusion together,
Yeah.
And that's true in any profession, or science, or hobby. And I think if there's a way, and I don't know what the way is, but if there's a way to bring that back into the skeptic community, it'll be important. And Orson says that he likes turtles. So that's good. What started the exit for you? Like, what happened that made you start to exit the GDC?
Well, the thing was that I know we said we weren't going to talk about it, but basically Steve...
It's okay. I just don't want it to be about Steve, but go ahead.
Yeah. But so basically Steve had started being a little bit more dictatorial around... Okay. It was around about a couple of years in, and he had a massive fallout with Nate Brody over various things. I think the main thing was the definition of atheism. Now, again, as somebody who's not an atheist, I couldn't care less what the definition
Something about rocks, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's that rocks can't be atheists and things can't be atheists. I don't know. Don't ask me. Anyway, so Nick Brody basically made an argument which was pretty sound of why he was wrong. Anyway, he got kicked out. Again, I didn't know Nick that well, to be honest with you.
Sure.
You know, Drag and Sam, a lot of them knew him better. So, and there we go. But when Kevin and Jackie, who are two of the most nicest people you've ever met in life,
yes, they
disagreed, and he kicked them out. I was like, well, I'm leaving because they're my friends.
Sure.
And the thing is that, and plus the thing is that if you need to kick them out, then you're going the wrong way, in my opinion. You know, you should be allowed to have, you know, people should be allowed to disagree with you.
Sure. Dissenting opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that he couldn't have that. And I think the thing is, I think he has a very egotistical side to himself, which is that he can never be wrong about something.
That's fair.
I think that whenever people have tried to criticize him, he thinks they're criticizing him about everything. It's not. They're just criticizing him on that issue.
Right.
And I think that I don't think he has that sort of nuance to understand that. But yeah, that's basically why I left. Was that, you know, I saw the way he was treating my friends, and I'm not going to stand for that.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Did you move on to something else? Like there was a similar type of community or anything?
I just stayed talking to the people on Skype, and then I left that group.
Right.
And it was nobody's fault. You know, people say, "Oh, it's somebody's fault." It was nobody's fault. It's just like, you know, we just grew apart just because, like, you know, I moved on to going do stuff outside of YouTube. You know, they moved on to doing, you know, social stuff, or just basically weren't interested in talking about that sort of stuff anymore. And that's fine. You know, sometimes that's what happens, unfortunately, in communities. You know, you just move on.
Yeah. What about, you mentioned them briefly, but I'd like for you to talk a little bit more about them, because I know you're very close with Jackie and Kevin, and they have expressed a desire to come on. We're seeing if we can arrange it. But can you talk a little bit about them and your relationship with them?
Yeah, sure. Jackie and Kevin are two of the nicest people we've met in life. I met Kevin first. I met him through Shadow Heathen. He used to go on his show, I forget what it's called. That Shadow. I can't remember what exactly his show was called. So off the top of my head, sorry. Anyway, they used to go on that show a lot, you know. And then I talked to him, but also they're part of the New Covenant group where I got to talk to Kevin a lot on that as well. And you know, we formed a friendship on that. And, you know, and I always thought that Kevin was a great guy. And then, like, you know, I met Jackie separately when she started talking to G-Man, and then me and Jackie would have chats and stuff like that. I basically said that she was a human Care Bear. And she still is a human Care Bear now.
That's a great description. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I used to actually, that was my nickname for her, and it still is now. You know, HCB, you know, Human Care Bear, because literally, she's the sweetest person you've ever met in your life. You know, like she literally is like, you know, everyone wants to say like, you know, like you know, build a bear, but it's a human. It's going to be Jackie. You know, what I mean? You know,
yeah.
But yeah, both of them is, yeah. I still think fondly about them. I'm not in touch with them as much as I should do, just because, like, you know, I'm not as online as I used to be. But you know, I'll check in with them every now and again, making sure they're all right and stuff like that.
I'll tell you, one of the greatest joys of my life recently was hearing Jackie scream "puppies" so loud that she clipped out a microphone. It's it's a beautiful thing, and if they do make it on, I'm gonna have her do it live. So,
I honestly, like, you know, you want somebody who's like, you know, yeah, they're both really fantastic people.
Sure. Well, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up or discuss?
Sure. I think that Holy Spackle brought up before, like I'm talking about ages ago, about the fact that I will go on and defend certain people. Now, I had recently, I did a now, this is after the whole rape apology. This was when Earl David Warden went on Steve's show.
Sure.
I went on Rick's stream, which he took down. God knows why. Well, I do know why, but, you know, we won't get into that. But basically, we had a chat about what Steve was doing was wrong. Now, again, I have no problem with Steve saying, I think this guy's innocent. That's fine. That's your opinion. I may disagree with it, but that's fine. Is what the things you were saying, was kind of suggested that the victim had lied and blah blah blah. And I explained that to him anyway, to Brian Banks, and how this meant that nobody could ever say that somebody's victim of rape. I was like thinking, well, no, we say that this guy, because all the evidence points to him, who's convicted based upon the evidence provided. He's never challenged that evidence, and I said we could have gone to this, that, and the other. And again, the reason I wanted to do that is because, again, the victim could see this stream. I mean, again, we don't know who the victim is. I don't know who the victim is at all. They could see the stream, or someone could share it with her, and it could distress her.
Sure.
Because again, rape is something that, again, you never get over, because it's literally like, domestic abuse or something like that. It's something that stays, or child abuse. It stays with you forever. There's not going to be a day you do not think about it. And really, somebody bringing up that pain for just defending yourself, instead of just saying, the guy, I just wanted to talk to this guy about this subject. Again, whatever he did or didn't do, I think has nothing to do about the subject we're talking about. Done. But it's because Steve has to be right.
Right.
That was the whole thing.
And I think. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Keep going, please.
They'll done the whole Cheshire Vic for our hangout thing was the same sort of thing, because I don't think people quite realise the impact that the internet has on outside of real life, in your real life issues. Because since I started, you could say what you wanted, and it would rarely, if ever, have real life consequences unless you posted something like of somebody killing somebody, or somebody it would rarely interact with your real life. But that has significantly changed, especially recently, where what people say online and do online have consequences, where people have been arrested for allegations put online. For example, some people have been arrested for domestic abuse or child abuse, all sorts of stuff. And the thing is that, considering what Nate does for a living, that could negatively impact his ability to practice and make a living. When again, it was based upon nothing but ill feeling and stupidity.
Right.
not on his part, but on their part, because they couldn't get the fact that he pointed out legitimately the issues that Steve was doing. Now, the reason I wanted to touch on Cheshire is because I generally believe, and I still do believe, that he's a good person.
Okay.
Because like Steve, you're never going to reach. He's too egotistical and he's too far gone to have a legitimate conversation. She isn't. She seems to me, again, I try and see the good in people, even if it's not there. I do try and see the good in people. But I do think that she's coming from this for a good place. That she wants to support her friend, Sweet Heathen. She wants to support Steve because he's her friend, and she's friends with Rent as well. I can understand wanting to support your friends. I really can. So that's why I just tried into it and said, look, these things are wrong, and that's basically she said, oh well, I proved Gary wrong, blah blah blah. Well, you didn't you just made these circular arguments that didn't go anywhere, really, to my mind. But again, the way I went at it was, I generally believe that people don't understand now, or unaware of the real life impact that the internet has. So that's the reason that I went into those streams, is because I generally believe that these people have good hearts. Again, people go say, "Oh, you're too trusted," whatever. But again, I try and see the best in people, because I do believe that all people are base good. There are some people who are knobheads.
Right. You're talking about 99% of people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because I said this recently, I think on a Unirock stream, but I don't think I've said this on my own channel, so I guess I need to. I agree with you to a certain extent. I think that, I think I did talk about this on Twitter. I think that both Steve and Cheshire have the charisma to do well on the YouTube platform. I do.
Absolutely.
And I think that if they had started a new non sequitur show together and just did what was being done before, they would probably have 1 million subscribers right now on Steve's channel or GDC, whatever. And I think that there is this this undercurrent there, this need with both of them to find ways to hurt people, and I just want them to stop doing that. I don't unfortunately think that they will. I don't think they give any kind of shit about my opinion, and that's fine. Lots of people don't. I mean, you know, that it's a pretty long list of people who don't give a fuck what I have to say, but on some level, I do. I think some of the things they've done are egregious and malicious. From what some people have shown me, I'm not a law expert, so I'm not speaking on this in any kind of expert way. It looks as though Chesh may have skirted the law, maybe broken the law in Canada with some of the things that she said. Again, I'm not an expert on law. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. So, you know, there would be some sort of reparations for that if that is true. And I don't know. But I do think that both of them have in them the capacity to be good creators, and instead they've mired themselves in nothing but backbiting, essentially. And it's sad. I'd like to see both of them succeed in a way that's positive, that brings positivity into the community. And I just don't think that they're interested in doing that. So,
as I said to you before we started, you look at like what they had before all this drama. You know, they had Matt Dillahunty, they had PC Myers, they had, you know, Robert Price, they had Richard Carrier on, they had Aaron Ra on, they had all these people who have, even if you don't like them, have a massive platform to promote Steve's crap, to put Steve's stuff. You know, Hugh Ross, Fuzz Rana, people who, whether you agree with them or not, have a massive platform to push Steve on the map. And yet, it's good. And why did he go? Because of his ego, and for no other reason. It didn't go because he suddenly become boring, or because his channels. It's because people started making him aware of the way he was behaving, and people don't want to be part of that. And it's basically the same way that Rome fell. It fell from within.
Right.
And again, I think that Steve and Jessica definitely have charisma. They could have, you know, they could be like, you know, either 250, maybe nearly like 1 million subs.
Sure.
If they stop putting drama into everything and start harassing a poor lady and her child. Sorry, I know I should bring that up because it's a legal case, but even so, like, you know, but just make it about topics. Just make it about just random bullshit topics. Make it like, you know, about politics or religion, or talk about, you know, maybe relationships, because, you know, sometimes relationships aren't always a solid, just, you know, through line thing. Sometimes they're complicated. You know, I'd watch that, because again, I do agree with you that I think that Cheshire has charisma. You know, she's obviously a very charismatic person, and I think that Steve is as well.
Did we lose Gary?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your video has frozen. Oh, there you are. Now you're back. Okay, well, yeah, we got to wrap this up. So give me your final thoughts, and then guys, remember, if you want to watch the after show, go over to Twitch. If you want to participate in the after show, go ahead and jump into the Discord. Get on the live stream chat channel. I will be in there in a few minutes once we get started up on Twitch. But go ahead, Gary. Give us your closing thoughts.
Okay. Part of me does wish that we would find each other again and come together to be a community. Just because I miss talking to Fiona on a social level. I miss talking to Laura on a social level. I miss talking to Jackie and Kevin. I miss talking to Brian and Excel. I miss talking to these people because, you know, I still count these people as my friends.
Sure.
You know, I like all friends. Sometimes you say and do stupid stuff, but you know, the other day you still don't stop caring about that person. You know, I still care about Fiona. You know, I want to make sure that she's well. I want to make sure, you know, her family's well. I want to make sure that all my friends are well. You know, that you know, whatever they're doing, they're happy, and that they're content in where their life is at the moment. And I think that that's something that I think that we have lost, is that sense of community.
Yeah, it's sad, man. Well, listen, Phoney, Mr. Gary, I want to thank you very much. I appreciate it. Are you going to join us for the after show?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, listen, guys, one last time, if you want to join on the after show, make sure you're following me on Twitch. It'll be, you know, 5 minutes. I just got to switch stuff over. My water's empty. I got to refill the water. Probably have to pet the dog for a minute. And if you want to participate, just jump in Discord, get in live stream chat. It's open to anybody. Anybody can join. Anybody can come in and comment. There's no laws or restrictions as long as you follow the rules on the server, which are pretty standard Discord TOS rules. So, Gary, again, thank you for being here. Live chat, thank you all for being here. And I will see you guys in a few minutes over on Twitch. Good night, everybody.